But the game against Iran, the shackles were off, Macca. They were brilliant. You know, we were waxing lyrical about Saka and Bellingham.
So they were horrible. Come on.
No, I get that, but as much as... Go on.
Come on.
No, but...
I mean,
Okay,
they're playing Iran, and Iran were terrible on the day, weren't they? So, you know, it's... I don't judge them against Iran. I judge them against teams like USA that they haven't got a result against in the past. You know, Wales would be a difficult game because they know each other. You know, we're already saying, oh, on paper, England's are much better than Wales and this and that. And they'll probably struggle to find a way to get through this game. They'll get through. Of course they'll get through. Because they've shown that they can. But they don't get through with this authority where you think, wow, we've got a really good chance of winning this, you know, winning this tournament.
Where's the swagger?
Right, well, it's not.
On the bench.
Yeah, it's on the bench. And at the end of the day, you can't argue beating Iran 6-2, and you can talk, you can say whether Iran are not good or are good. But the fact is that England played some great football, scored some great goals. And you go, yes, thank you very much. The problem England has is they can't string two performances like that together.
Right.
They don't do it consistently. Yes, they'll turn around and beat somebody 6-2. And I'm a bit like you. I don't care who it is. You can only play the football that you can. But if you can get some sort of consistency against teams that, number one, you're supposed to beat, but get that swagger, so that actually when you go and play against Spain or France or anybody else, they've actually seen you swaggering. And then that puts them on the back foot a little. Nobody seems to get pushed on the back foot by England, because you know that they can collapse.
But with that great result against Iran, then you follow it up. Now, if the U.S. were so scared because you looked at that result and you went, wow, we got to park the bus, we got to be super conservative, and then England just takes it to them, but it's clearances off the line and goalkeeper making 6 or 7 saves and crashing it off the crossbar.
That's acceptable.
But that wasn't the case.
No.
And so I think that's the problem. It's like, wait a minute, here's the energy, here's the numbers going forward, here's a little bit of flair that's given us some hope that this is the new England for this tournament. And then they revert back to the old England by the first 5 minutes, Stones and Maguire just passing the ball back and forth to each other. And, I mean, what was the old adage? Get the ball in the other half. Press them. See if you can get on the front foot. See if you can put them under some pressure. We're just going to pass it. And the U.S. is going, okay. And then we'll forced entry pass, turnover. Forced pass out wide, throw in. And it just looked like, well, we were able to do that against Iran. Why can't we do it now? Well, what's plan B when it's not working? Okay, Sterling's supposed to be fast. Saka's supposed to be fast. Drop the ball over the top. Step a midfield up. Win a second ball, Bellingham. Run into defense. Nope, we'll just pass the ball with the 2 center backs back and forth for 5 minutes.
Although he's been to a semi-final of a World Cup and a final of a Euros, I don't know if anybody agrees or disagrees, but for me, there's still a question mark of whether this is management and coaching or whether there's a huge element of the draw, right? Because, I mean, you look at the World Cup, the Euros, and then you look at this. The USA are the most difficult game in this group by far, right? I know what Mac is saying with Wales, but they've got 2 passengers, haven't they, in Bale and Aaron Ramsey. And if Bale's not got a moment of magic that's produced, you'll not see him for 89 minutes. You look at some of the other groups from the Asian continent, particularly that one with Spain and Germany, with Japan. That's a whole different ballgame. If you're getting out of groups like that, then I'll sit back and say, fair play. But at the moment, I think there are more questions than answers about this England team in terms of the balance of it and whether Southgate knows exactly what the best one is.
Nathan?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily agree with any bit of that, to be honest, but that's fair enough. I think ultimately it's the way that football works. The draw is the draw, and we've seen England in the past not just go out to just sides who we deem to be better than them. You've seen collapses against the likes of Iceland. You've seen times where they've not qualified for the tournaments, and I think realistically, you know, this is how it is, and they find ways to do it. It's weird when we start a conversation with, you know, I know they made it to the semi-final of the World Cup, and I know they made it to the final of the World Cup. Like, that's not normal for England. They've lost plenty of big games in the past to sides who they probably believe that they should have beaten. So the fact that they are able to get the results to go their way, then surely there must be something positive there. And to talk about today, you know, I have to do this because I'm next to my roommate. Like, USA played really well. you come up against a side and you might be the favourite, but if the opposition play really well, and we're not talking about 11 players who are playing for some mid-level teams in the MLS or anything like this. They're playing for some really good clubs. They're playing at the highest level. They're competing, and they are good players. I think sometimes we talk about them like, because it's England should just walk over everybody. England could have, in theory, won this game comfortably and won just 1-0. The fact is they didn't play at their best. Sterling didn't play well. Saka didn't play well. People like this. But a lot of that, in my opinion, was down to the way that USA played, and I have to give them credit for that because it made it uncomfortable for them. And I think ultimately where the USA probably fell down was they weren't able to capitalise on the moments that they had. And for perspective, again, when the game's all said and done, USA, they've had one shot on target. So even though they have played well and made it difficult for England, it's not as if they really were beating the door down as well. I think ultimately both sides will say they deserve the draw from it because it was a very competitive game at the World Cup. We'll see how England do going throughout, but yes, we can say the draw matters. But then we've just seen Argentina lose to Saudi Arabia. We've just seen Germany lose to Japan. So there must be some sort of skill to this, in my opinion, which England seem to have done quite well over the last 2 and a bit tournaments as it stands.
We'll give the last word to you, Macca, before your internet runs out.
Again. No, mate, I mean, listen, I want England to win this trophy. I don't want them to lose in the semi-final or the quarterfinal. It means nothing to me. I want them to do well, and I want them to win. And I want them to see. I want to see them play well. That's the most important thing to me. I want to see them score goals. I want to see them look good on the eye, like I see in other teams. And I like to see them play exciting football. So I just hope that Gareth can learn from today's game and move forward and hopefully get better because, at the moment in time, I've seen better teams in this competition, and that disappoints me because I want to see England be successful.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.